Hello, Virgo. Thank you very much for tuning into your general read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Witch's Tarot by Ellen Dugan. For supportive oracle cards, Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. Excuse me. Alright, so already shuffled. Let's go ahead and see what we got for Virgo. Okay, so whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're coming into, being a part of it seems like it's a shock altogether. You got the Tower card here. This is how you're coming into this. Like, the fact that you're even a part of this is just kind of shaking you up, kind of like, wow, I didn't expect to be a part of this. This isn't something I expected to be dealing with. When you initially get into it, I just feel like you don't know really what to make of it. It's just kind of like the fact that you're involved in it is kind of shocked by itself, but I don't feel like you really gave the situation too much thought. So to know what you're dealing with is just kind of like, just because you really didn't give it a thought, like there was no reason, because you never expected to be a part of this. And when you're coming into the situation, I do feel you're a very helpful energy. Again, you're not expecting to be a part of it, but like it's kind of like you're thrown in the middle of this mess, and you're just kind of like, well, it's a mess, so I guess I'll clean it up a little bit. This could even be getting involved with somebody romantically, and I feel like there may be, like, there's just something a little off with it, and your first response is like, this is off, this is not working right, let me see if I can fix this or like make it better. So whatever it is, your first instinct is just like, maybe I can make this better, because you're kind of shocked that you're involved with it at all. And as you're going forward, I'm getting like, there definitely is lack here. In between you and whatever you're working with, there is some envy. Now, the envy is very weird, in my opinion, because it might be kind of like the situation isn't working optimally. Let's go that route. But it should be. And I feel like that's how you're looking at it. Like, it's not working correctly, but it really should be. And I'm getting the envy here is kind of like, why wasn't this already working properly before I got involved with it? Kind of that feel. Like, envy is usually wanting something somebody else has, clearly, but it's kind of like wanting this to already be fixed and kind of looking at it like it shouldn't be where it is. Like, but, you know, it's kind of like, well, I'm involved in it. Let me do what I can to fix it. There's a fix-it attitude here. It's weird how the envy is coming in my opinion, because it just feels like, you know, it's kind of envious that it's not where it should be. I kind of wish it was where it should be instead of me having to kind of fix it. But I feel like you're getting a lot of appreciation. You're getting a lot of appreciation for what you're doing to get this in line. There's a million and one reasons why this could be out of whack, is what I'm getting. But the fact that you're helping and it just seems like your gut reaction, your just first instinct, just to try to fix it. Just kind of like, that's the only thing I know to do right now, because it's a kind of a mess. Even if it's romantically, you're kind of like, this person's a little out of focus. I gotta help them focus themselves here. Let's get things in line. And to you, this stuff is easy. Like, this is kind of like 101 basic, like, you know, really, you should have your ducks in a row. What's going on? To you. This other person, they might not have the best rhetoric. Let's do that. I don't know why I'm using that word, but it flew right out. They're very appreciative. They got the Sun card here. Like, you're making a very, very strong difference. To you, I still feel you looking at it like, this is 101 basic stuff. Like, come on. But you seem to be putting the structure in place, or like lining things up to get the ducks in a row, quite frankly. You're giving them something to hold to adhere to. You're making their lives easy, because they realize that if they don't keep up with this, you're not going to be happy with them. So it's kind of inspiring them to keep up with it as well. A lot of times I feel like things with this person get out of whack because they get disinterested, and they just kind of go towards something else that catches their eye, and they're just kind of letting things fall through the cracks because they just it's a boring thing to keep up with the Joneses type feel. It's a boring thing to keep things in line. They just get bored with it, so they go this way or that way, things they'd rather do. Instead of doing homework, I'd rather watch TV, that type of feel. Instead of getting, the chores done, I'd rather play video games. But you're putting them in line. They're adhering to it. You got this card on your side, the Lover's card. So when this is going forward, you like this. You realize you're making an effect. You see it going in perspective the way it needs to go. And I feel like you're feeling appreciated and very effective. The fact that you're effective also is a big thing. So you're effective, you're being appreciative, and because of that, what I'm getting, the way these two energies are coming together, yours and whatever you're dealing with, you got the King of Wands. This is becoming very strong, and this is being very, like, I feel like it's almost like setting up a plan, setting up a route. I think a route would be better to put. Like, this is the way you do it. You go here at this time, you go there at that time, you go over there at this time, you put this over here at this time, and you do this every day, and you do this every day, and you do it even every week, whatever, every week, every day, whatever it is. It seems to be adhered to. The success is there, and you're proving it. You're like, see, this is how life works out. You keep doing it the same way. You keep doing it the way you're supposed to. You keep up with what you're supposed to get done. It doesn't get overwhelming, and everything's fine. And the other person, whoever you're dealing with, seems to be like nodding their head in agreement, and they do agree. They do. There's a hidden card here. They're not talking. Why aren't they talking? They got the fifth chakra, which is the throat chakra, the blue chakra, but this card's face down. They're not communicating. Like, I feel like there's a little bit of embarrassment here. And I feel like that's one of the reasons they're just kind of going along with you. They're not expressing how, they get bored with it, and they just, it becomes very monotonous for them. And they need something to keep it a little bit more lively, to keep them, like, they need some type of randomness involved to keep them engaged with it. Or over time, I feel like they just kind of naturally just kind of veer off to the side. They're not communicating this, though, because I feel like they're kind of embarrassed. I do feel like there's a little bit of embarrassment here. And it seems to be connecting back to that envy. I feel like even with that envy, maybe if we elevate that a little farther when we were talking about that, they kind of wished it was where it should have been too at that same time. And they're kind of embarrassed that it wasn't. And I feel like that's why they're not communicating, or they're not trying to change anything, because what you did was you helped them, and they're very grateful for that, and they don't want to they don't want to buck the system in any sense, because they think that's going to seem like it's ungrateful, so they don't want to do that. That's kind of what I'm feeling here. Now, the thing is, I see you with this is not the solar plexus, the sacral chakra. Does it say sacral on there? Second chakra. It's the sacral chakra. It's the orange one. This is next on your side. Now, you're feeling very comfortable with the way things are going. It feels like you should it just feels like you should notice. If you don't, I feel like this might be the heads up. But I feel like the majority of you are kind of getting the hint. Like, there's a reason this fell through before. The reason it was the way it was. And you realize it's something that you got to keep an eye on. The trick here is to realize you have to bring in a little bit more spice for this person, which can be a little bit interesting. But I feel like whatever this is you're dealing with, you can keep the regimen and the schedule, if you will, the schedule of events. You can keep that. But you can also add in some spice for them where they get the spice, but you still keep your schedule. You still have things being done at the right times. You can throw in some spice for them, or open the door so they can create their own spice, if you will. You just gotta say, as long as things are done at the appropriate times. I have seen this work with other people with this earth feel, where they're helping other people, and they'll be like, well, you can do these in the order you want, especially because they're doing them, you're not. But you're kind of like, you got this date, you have to have this done by this time of this day. You have to have this done by this time of this day. If you want to do these in a different order, as long as they're done at their appropriate times, knock your socks off. And that's kind of them creating their own spice, if you will. You're giving them some leeway, but you're also keeping the structure. Like, yeah, you can do these in any order you want, but at this day, at this time, this has to be done, and at this time, this has to be done, and yet this, this time, this has to be done. You can do it in any order you want because you're the one doing it, but by this time, this has to be done, and this has to be done, and that has to be done. Now, this is very interesting to me because I do see between the two of you, it's kind of like this is working. But the Eight of Swords is kind of like, I feel like that's the thing. Like, giving that spice, the spice needs to be added. I almost feel like you know that. But it's kind of like, oh, I don't know if I really want to. You're nervous about it. You're like, I don't know if I want to get out of this. I don't know if I want to change this up because I feel like that could throw things off and put this back in disarray like it was. But on the other hand, they're feeling this too because they're like, they really do want that little bit of spice, but they don't want to push it. Because they're very thankful for the help you've given, and they don't want to lose it. And they're like, things are a lot better this way. It's boring them to death. I feel like the way it's being done is boring them to death. So it's like you're both kind of like, you're both realizing some more spice has to be added, but you're both kind of like don't want to push it, don't want to test the waters, because it's like, it's going well now, why mess with it? So you're both kind of in that same boat. It's very interesting. But as we keep going forward, I'm getting, like, the person you're dealing with is very happy, feels very accomplished, and very enjoying what's going on here, enjoying things being taken care of and working out the way they should. But I'm getting the contract here right after it saying they are committing to this. Whatever it is you've set up, this is something they're committing to. If you can find a way to put that spice in, this person will be a lot happier longer down the road. I just feel like if the spice isn't in there to make them a little happier, there will be some type of balancing out later of that energy. So you can get this to work out for a good while the way it is without adding the spice, but at some point down the road, and it could be a good while, which is questionable how long good while is, like a year and a half, how long is that? But at some point, it will come around. It will have to be balanced. So you don't have to add that spice right now, but if you have it in your mindset, I need to find some spice, I need to find a way for this to work out that way, I feel like you can comfortably move towards that if you prefer, but the sooner you add in that spice, the better, because I feel like this person is kind of settling into the regimen, and the sooner you start adding little pieces of spice in that are acceptable to you, the easier it goes down the road. I just feel like it's better for you and the situation. I feel like your first instinct will be to not do that, but they're saying for your long-term success, it benefits you a lot more. Instead of having to deal with something down the road, you just kind of take care of that, you put in that little bit of spice, it's better. Because the two of you are going to work to keep this going. It's going to stay on plan. You're both going to do your diligence to hold the line, to keep it going. Together you're holding this line, together. So you're holding it, it's like you're holding things in place, you're standing and you're holding it in place together. And you're feeling the success of this. Success, the Six of Wands, you do have the success of this. So you are successful, this is going to be a success. I feel like the whole thing about this reading is saying add that spice. Because it will balance out later if you don't do that now. And it can be that way. I feel like that's one of those things where, down the road you look back and like, oh, I wish I wouldn't be dealing with whatever I'm dealing with now. One of those moments. Are we good? All right, I think we're good. I'm going to wrap that up there. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.